Right now.
Hit record right now.
There we go.
That's our YouTube version, so you can watch it on the link if for some reason Facebook drops out. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I celebrate recovery from the grief of a divorce, poor relationship choices, and the consequences of those choices. I still struggle with, just lots of things. My name is Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Hi.
I'm a grateful believer in Jesus. I struggle with drugs, alcohol, lust, and food issues, and my name is Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Hi.
Nice shirt.
Thank you.
Where'd you get that shirt? Where'd you get that fancy
this
shirt?
This girl
Chad?
got it for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She cute?
Yeah.
Hey, now.
I gotta be flirting online.
Hey.
It's messed up.
Oh, that's true. We shouldn't.
Yeah.
So if you haven't noticed our shirts, you can get those at Celebrate Recovery's main website page. The quick announcement is that Summit is coming next weekend. There is still time to register for the online Celebrate Recovery Summit. If you have never been to a summit before, it's not quite going to be the same because it's not in person, but it's going to be incredible because there are so many great resources for leaders, for participants, great classes, if you want to call them that. They're like little
breakout groups
sessions,
or whatever.
Breakout
Zoom groups. Yeah.
Mac and Mary Owen, Rodney and Carol Holmstrom, John Baker, Johnny Baker, the whole Baker family. Everybody's going to be.
All the Bakers.
All the people are going to be, they've got some really great stuff for you. So check that out if you can. There's still time to register, and there'll be plenty of time to watch it if you can't get it all in the weekend. I think you get it like for a full week. So that's really good. Plus, you can also get some of the cool new gear. We were wearing those T-shirts every Sunday night, and we were wearing them out. So I was like, we need to get ourselves some new.
We got to get new Celebrate Recovery T-shirts.
We did.
Man,
we're gonna have to order some.
And I know that we're dropping some stuff right now. So you guys, I apologize for that.
By dropping some stuff, he means like frames or something.
Yeah, I think it's glitchy on us.
Thing.
I apologize, you guys. I'm going to open this just so I can kind of see if anybody's saying anything about it. But anyway,
we'll see.
We'll keep trying here.
Let me keep going. If you don't have a church home, New Heights in Fayetteville, Arkansas is the home of our specific Celebrate Recovery. We've been doing an online service at newheightschurch.com. And this coming Sunday night, actually 2 weeks from now, I apologize, 2 weeks from this Sunday, August 2nd, we're going to do an outside service in the field behind the Boys and Girls Club. So if you want to check that out, you can check it out at newheightschurch.com, or you can go to the New Heights Church Facebook page to get more details about the outside service. We had one last month. Everybody brought their lawn chairs, spread way out. It was a great worship service. It was really great to see people in person. We wore masks. It was social distancing. And so even though the new parameters around this stuff is sometimes inconvenient, it is nice to see people in person. And it was tolerable. It worked out great. We got to worship together. It was really a lot of fun. So that's something I just wanted to make that announcement. If you're new to Celebrate Recovery, welcome. We know that every week we get a couple people who've never been to a CR or haven't gone to an in-person CR, and they're like, oh, I'll watch online because that's a safer way to start, and we really appreciate it. We do want to say that our online platform, our Facebook and our YouTube, if you make a comment, people can read the comment. So that kind of breaks the anonymity, and Celebrate Recovery is known for confidentiality and anonymity. But if you feel comfortable, we would love for you to share a comment. It's how we kind of keep our community going. People kind of comment and say hi and that kind of stuff. I think Chad
Lisa was saying that it's breaking up a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I know it is a little messy. Sorry, you guys. If you have to watch it on YouTube, we apologize for that.
We don't know what's going on. Chad already reset the internet. We're going to try to get some sort of different...
Not the whole thing, but...
I don't know.
Just our little routers.
Whatever. He does the things he does.
Modem.
Our producer, Chad, handles the tech stuff.
Well, and we're getting new internet
I just get the T-shirts. That's all I do.
But we don't have it yet.
We digress.
Yeah, let's keep moving. We'll keep going.
Tonight we're going to switch a couple of things up. The first thing is, instead of the 8 principles, we're going to read the 12 steps. And so here they are. We're going to alternate them without further ado. The 12 steps. And the corresponding.
I have a picture in there.
Wait, he's lost us. He's got to get us in there in just a second. He does.
It's okay. Keep going.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read step 1.
And we're going to keep moving.
And possibly he's going to get us involved in the picture in just a minute. Step 1: we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, and that our lives had become unmanageable. For I know that good itself does not dwell in me, that is in my sinful nature, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. Romans 7:18. Okay, now
give me just a second.
I'm going to talk for just a little bit longer while Chad continues to do his behind the scenes stuff. I wish you could see. He's just went through like 100 buttons or something like that.
Let me see. I'll just do 2. Here, we'll go ahead and
here
go
we go.
with 2.
2. I'm going to read 2.
Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. For it is God who works in you to will and to act according in order to fulfill his good purposes. Philippians 2:13.
Perfect. Now he's going to move to 3 and still try to get us up there.
He's still going to try to get us up there.
We'll still have more steps left than we had in the 8 principles. You've got like 4, we've got 2 more to go, then we can still get in there.
I think we can just keep going. Keep going.
Step 3, we made a decision to turn our lives and our wills over to the care of God. And the verse that goes with that is, therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Romans 12:1. How's it going?
I'm coming close. Hold on.
Okay.
Order. Move up.
We're going to have to switch now to step 4.
Yeah. It's all right. We're going to keep going.
Okay.
Step 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Let us examine our ways and test them, and let us return to the Lord. Lamentations 3:40.
I mean, the technical difficulties are coming out.
I know, this
of
is rough.
every angle.
Go ahead.
Step 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And the verse is, therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. James 5:16.
And then step 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. James 4:10. Oop, here we go.
Okay, step 7. We humbly asked him to remove all our shortcomings. And the verse is, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. 1 John 1:9. I think Chad has given up now.
Step 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Luke 6:31.
I was reading slow to try to buy you some time, but now I'll just go back to my fast talk and fast reading. Step 9, we made a direct amends to such people whenever possible, except to do so would injure them or others. The verse, therefore, if you're offering a gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. Luke 6:31.
Step 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. 1 Corinthians 10:12.
Step 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and power to carry that out. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly. Colossians 3:16.
And then step 12, having had a spiritual experience as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. But watch yourselves, or you may also be tempted. Galatians 6:10. Well, 1. Ooh, that's messed up.
Okay.
Coming back.
Here we are, coming back to us now. We'll try to, I don't know what's going on. We're having some
maybe my computer, who knows?
Might be Chad's computer.
But we definitely have popping coming through the speakers too, so I don't know where that's coming from.
Sorry.
My computer's melting down or something. It's been overworked.
Let's cut it to Justin in the Crosstown Band for a little bit of worship.
We'll see if that
Pray
works.
hard during the worship that everything will run smoothly as we return.
And if you want to get a chip or if you want to
That's right.
Celebrate,
This is
we'd
the
love to have you guys.
part of our Celebrate Recovery. So
celebrate!
30, 60, 90 days, if you have 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, not 3 months, I guess that's 90 days, or a year or multiple years, and you feel comfortable just writing the chip, what the milestone is, the mile marker also, if you're driving and you want to put your mile marker number down.
Sorry, guys.
Exit 78. No, I don't even know what that is. At any rate, if you have something you want to celebrate, please let us celebrate with you. Go ahead and post it in the comments as we kick it over to Justin.
Here we go.
I have this trust the power of your word, enough to seek your kingdom first, beyond the barren place, beyond the ocean's waves. When I walk through the waters, I won't be overcome. When I go through the rivers, I will not be drowned. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. You keep the promises you make. There isn't one that is delayed, so I will not lose heart. I will lift my arms and start to sing into the night. My praise will call the sun to rise, declare the battle won, declare that it is done. When I walk through the waters, I won't be overcome. When I go through the rivers, I will not be drowned. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. When I am in the fire, I will not feel the flame. Will stand before the giant, declaring victory. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. Before me, behind me, always beside me. No shadow, no valley where you won't find me. No, I am not afraid. Before me, behind me, always beside me. No shadow, no valley where you won't find me. No, I am not afraid. No, I am not afraid. When I walk through the waters, I won't be overcome. When I go through the rivers, I will not be drowned. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. When I am in the fire, I will not feel the flame. Will stand before the giant, declaring victory. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. My God will make a way, so I am not afraid. Lay my life down at your feet. You're the only one I need. Empty me of everything, and open arms to you. Please don't leave me where I am. Take me back where love began. Though my eyes can't see the end, I believe you have a plan. So I will trust in you. ripples of your love for me flow into the ocean's deep. When I sing your melody, I step into eternity. And I will trust in, holding on to, you're the light that leads me home. Standing face to face with your endless grace, I am right where I belong. So I run to you. No one else will do. You take me as I am, you let me start again. So I run to you. Pull me closer, take me deeper. The more I see, the more I love, the more I love you. Pull me closer, take me deeper. The more I see, the more I love, the more I love you. Hold me closer, take me deeper. The more I see, the more I love, the more I love you. Hold me closer, take me deeper. The more I see, the more I love, the more I love you. So I run to you. No one else will do. You take me as I am, you let me start again. So I run to you. So I run to you.
That's too right.
All right, back in it. I know that we're breaking up. I see the internet dropping on me, and I don't know what's happening. Maybe somebody cut a cord somewhere, but we're gonna post this on YouTube. So if you can't hear it and you would like to,
Will it be smooth on YouTube?
yeah,
It
I'm
will?
recording it right
Yeah,
on
but
my
we
computer.
still won't have like picture in picture. There's other things going wrong, I think.
We won't have our picture on there, the one that we didn't have it. But what do you?
We're doing our best here. Chad's like, "Don't." What are you even talking about? You know, like the picture in picture.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, we
I
won't.
forgive you. I forgive you.
What did I do? We're gonna have to give us a minute while we make an amends. No, I'm totally
Man.
kidding. Sorry, it's a little bit. You know, it's funny. We've been doing this. How many months have we been doing this?
I don't know. A long time it feels like.
And it just starts going bad. This is a bad sign.
All of a
We
sudden,
need to
all of a
start
sudden.
going bad.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to switch as if we didn't already switch things up because we did the 12 steps instead of the 8 principles tonight. We're also just going to like veer off the track, but we're going to stay on the track, but veer off the route. Instead of doing the lessons, you know, we had been doing the lessons and now we're just going to kind of pause the lessons and do something different entirely. We can.
We can do whatever we want.
Can do whatever not really, within reason, I think. But
Sort of.
we're still going to talk about recovery. We're starting a new series tonight that will be a 5-part series. And so we're going to alternate every other week with a leader interview. And so this is going to go for 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks will get us all
That's
the
a
way.
long time.
It is. But in COVID time, it'll seem like
Really, it's just 2
weeks.
days.
It really
Yeah.
is. Because
like-
who knows? I don't even know how long we've been doing this. Or when
We should start shopping for Christmas.
I think we probably should.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if
it'll be here tomorrow.
even Christmas presents since
I don't know.
where they come from might not be
Open.
allowed.
They
At any
closed
rate-
Sears down on me already. I feel bad about that.
man.
Anyway.
At any rate,
do you
we need to
do?
move forward. So we're going to start a new series, and the series is called We're not going to have picture-in-picture, so please forgive that we have all of our writing to the left of the screen or the right of the screen. I don't know which way
little
it
off.
comes up because it's not working tonight. But Chad's going to put up the slides. We'll read them quick, and then it'll come back to us. 5 strategies to safeguard your recovery. We're going to talk about how to make your recovery process more efficient by addressing the things that derailed the journey. And I think I just said, too, that, by the way, when I tap your knee, that means to bring us back.
Okay. Nobody will know then. That's good.
I'm going to just...
That'll be really
I'll tap.
secretive.
His knee is here. I'm tapping his knee.
This has gone all wrong.
Not you.
Why don't you just say something? Everybody knows now. Anyway.
Okay, so I did just say we're doing. So here's what we were talking about. We're like, we do the lessons. We've been in CR for a while. We've been in step studies. We've been in open chair groups. And there are still some times when we see just people in recovery struggling to kind of make it work. And there are things we see people do that just grab on and it works really, really well. And then there are other times when it doesn't. So we had this discussion about what really makes it work. So this is Chad's original material, but I made up the slides for it. So
it's kind of Angela's
we're going to
too.
talk through the 5 strategies over the next 10 weeks, every other week. So I was going to say it's 5-part. And tonight we're going to talk about the first one. So first we're going to list what the 5 are, and then we'll dive right in. So the 5 strategies are going to be barriers, community, replacements, awareness, and your story. And those obviously will make more sense of those as we go. I just have
Kind
to
of hurts when you hit me. Not really.
I keep hitting his knee.
She wants me.
All
to
right,
come
so
back.
we're going to go to we're going to
next-
explain what barriers
So
are.
what we're talking about is we're just saying we want to help you guys have really practical ways to kind of do some things in recovery that aren't just theory, right? Sometimes I think we get caught up with talking about these big ideas, denial or powerless, and I think we can do a good job with those things. I think it helps us, but I think sometimes really having practical or tangible things to do is also useful. So we wanted to talk about that a little bit and kind of talk through like what does it look like in a like day to day, really just hands on. What do we do with this?
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that and kind of talk about what it means. So the first one is going to be barriers, and we'll talk about that and talk about what that looks like.
So barriers
Pretty
are
simple
really just
slide
kind
here.
of boundaries. When Chad talked about barriers, boundaries, borders, whatever you want to call them, the idea is basically making adjustments to your life so you're surrounded by safe options, or the alternative. So not necessarily you're surrounded by safe options, but the bad options aren't anywhere near you.
Yeah.
I guess that's
it's both. I mean, you want to have. We can use examples, but like
the next slide is examples.
Yeah, if you've got, if you struggle in an area, you don't want it in your house.
Yeah.
You don't want to wake up and see it every single morning staring you down, because we're only human. And if we have to take 2 or 3 steps to get to our addiction, it's not like, and again, it's not like we can't get to it. There's no way to completely safeguard our life where we can't, get to alcohol or porn
the
or
coping
drugs
strategies that we've used most
guys
of our life,
or whatever it is that you're after.
we know how to get them.
Yeah, we can get to it.
Yeah.
But if we can put a few like hurdles in the way that kind of slow us down or trip us up as we're going towards it, sometimes it's enough to kind of just get us out of that mindset, get us out of the the struggle. So
there were some specific ones in areas of recovery that we wanted to just kind of target so you get an idea of what we're really talking about. Because first, you really have to identify what is your area of recovery. And so some of the more tangible ones we're going to talk about, and then we'll talk about some of the other ones. So obviously, number 1, keeping substances out of reach and sight. If you struggle, let's go back and forth with this one a couple of times.
Okay.
If you struggle with drugs or alcohol or substances, and I'm going to even put food in that category. Like I really am, addicted is a good word, Chad will say. I really love sugary things. I love sweets. I love ice cream. I love candy. I love all that kind of stuff. If it's available and in my house, I'm going to eat it way more than if it's not. And I will make intentional effort to not buy that stuff so it's not in my house. Same kind of thing. If you struggle with alcohol. I know one of the conversations Chad had about him getting sober was that he had to change his route so he didn't drive by a liquor store on his way home.
that isn't really the story.
Oh.
It was, I would just kind of get a little further.
I'm gonna.
Well, that wasn't the story. I
Go
didn't
ahead.
change it because there's a liquor store everywhere. Everywhere I went home, there was one, but I would just like say, okay, I'm just going to stop sign. I'm just going to go a little bit further. I'm going to kind of like set these like goals in mind where I would do it a little bit differently, which is the same. I mean,
I
it's the
misunderstood.
same idea.
He said I drove home differently. I thought that meant a different route. It just meant a different way.
Man,
He's in big
I'm glad
trouble.
the internet's dropping
When
out
this
tonight.
is done, he is in big trouble.
I didn't drive. I mean, people talk about that. There are some people who
You
say
cannot
that.
say
They go a
this
different
now that
way.
You're giving me a really
But
hard time.
I'm not giving you a
You're
really hard time. I'm
basically
being
like,
very nice to you.
No,
Oh
you're
my gosh.
not.
Trigger! I gotta call a sponsor. Not really. But we do. We want to think about like how
This
do
is what
I?
it looks like when we disagree.
Well, how do I circumnavigate things that get in my way or
Yeah.
the things that I struggle with? How do I? And for me, it was like just get past it, go to the next stop sign. You don't have to even get all the way home, but just make it an intentional effort to say I'm not going to pull in right
Yeah.
away. I'm not going to, and I'll maybe I guess I could have found a different way to drive, but literally where the way to get home had a liquor store everywhere I went. So I was like, I have to go buy stuff. So what am I going to do? And I just made a plan to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then I said, it's funny because I would even say to myself, if you get there and you want to go back, you always can. If you get there, you want to go back, you always
So
can. Like just keep,
tangibly or
keep
practically
pushing on.
speaking, if we're
Yeah.
talking about putting a barrier up, what's your advice for somebody if drugs and alcohol is something I think you mentioned when we were talking about this, even like not going to somebody's house who has
Well-
substances that you've had access to before.
Yeah, I mean that's if you're saying, hey, this is something I've always struggled with, or this is something I've always had a problem with, and I know that if I go to Johnny's house, they're going to be doing that.
Johnny's
maybe
always
for
in
the
trouble.
first 6 months of your recovery, you just don't go there. And then when you end up
Yeah.
going back to their house, it might be a little bit awkward. But I think it's funny because I think I do talk to a lot of people, and a lot of times people say, won't it be weird if I don't drink with them anymore, or if I don't drink at that party or at the Super Bowl or whatever the thing is? And I'm like, nobody really cares if you're drinking.
Yeah.
Which is a funny thought because it's like it became so much of our identity when we were in our recovery that it's like if I go there and I don't do the thing, that feels weird too. But I would encourage you, like the first 6 months, just kind of maybe skip some of those parties or have a different plan, make a plan to be somewhere else.
I know when I was still going to parties like that, a strategy that I used that helped me slowly make the adjustment was I would bring a red Solo cup with me that had water in it and get out of my car and I would be there. But if anybody said, do you want a drink? I already had a drink and it wasn't alcohol. It was just a drink of water, but nobody knew what was in my cup or anybody else's cup.
Yeah.
So there are kind of strategies you can put into place that help you make the decision. I like Chad's better. Don't go to the party at all. It's a bad influence to go to the party. But there are things that you can do to help you if you're
Yep.
going to be influenced, which is the number 2 point. Choose the right influence and availability. And so this is something that if you struggle with saying no to someone, or if you struggle with worrying about what other people are going to think about you in this process, then that's a boundary that you need to set, because if you have a hard time saying no, don't put yourself in the situation where you're going to have to say yes or no.
Yeah. There's no reason, especially when you're making an effort to kind of change what you do, to put yourself in a situation where you're going to have to make that choice over and over and over.
Yeah.
A lot of times if you're sitting around with people and let's say they're, doing something that you shouldn't be doing, you might be able to pass a few times, but that third or fourth time, it's like a lot of times we give in, and we don't get credit for the 3 or 4 times we skip or say no thank you or pass on the drink or pass on whatever.
Yeah.
Right? We always kind of like beat ourselves up for the one time we fail. So I would just say early on, especially, I wouldn't even be around that. I'm not saying you got to give up your entire life for the rest of your life. You'll never know those people. I think that's, while it might end up being true, I don't think it's our goal right now. It's one day at a time. So today in your recovery, and at least for the 6 months that you're starting out or so, I would say just really make sure you've got good boundaries in place. You're choosing the right people. You're maybe not going to the party. You're maybe not doing, doing the thing that you always did, or even driving the route like you said. But if you have to drive the route, make a plan to get to the next point.
Yeah.
I am not going to go there until I check in here.
So the second part of 2 was availability, and I wanted to talk just for a second about a few different things. We talked about, let's say, pornography or online things is an issue that you struggle with. Having something set up like Watchdog, or having some accountability to what
Covenant
websites
Eyes,
there's
or
quite a few of them. What website you're going to. But I would even say, like, there was somebody I worked with who every single time she got on social media, it was Facebook, she just went to a really bad place where she felt bad about herself, wasn't measuring up, didn't like what she was doing, felt insecure. And so even something like Facebook is something she had to recognize was not a good influence on her. And so she had to make Facebook not really available so that she could avoid it. So she took it off her phone, which was good. I think she still checked it once a week online or on her computer, but that was something that she had to do. So part of this process is really first being able to truly acknowledge what is the thing that trips you up. There are liquor stores all over the place, but there's something that drives you there, not necessarily your
car?
vehicle. We're talking about like a deeper motivation. Even something like Facebook, there is this like, what am I missing if I'm not on it? But when I go there, it might be a bad influence on me. And so being able to acknowledge, this is the moment where I get triggered. This is the moment where I make the bad choice. How do I make an adjustment there so I can start doing something a little bit differently? Okay, the third one, which is something we talk about with people all the time, is creating guidelines for your life, especially around your specific issue of recovery. Okay, let's talk for a second about Chad and I, something that we do for our marriage. When both of us are divorced, that's part of the story that we share, and both of us had a lot of infidelity in our previous marriages that caused a lot of pain in our life. And so when we got married, something that we were very specific about was boundaries around the relationships we have with other genders. So we, for our marriage, have a couple specific rules in play where Chad isn't going to be in the vehicle with a female, or I'm not going to be in a vehicle with a male outside of my spouse, or if there's nobody else. There have been a few work-related incidents where I'm like, uh-oh, I have to get in the car with somebody, or he has to get in the car with somebody. We will call each other and say, hey, right now, run into a
going here to do this or whatever,
That is something that we're really open about. The fact that we both have passwords for, I can get on his Facebook, he can get on my
email
phone.
or whatever,
So there are specific things there. Even, let's talk about drinking for a second. Again, that's another one we brought up. One of Chad's things that he talks about when he does his introduction is drugs and alcohol. Alcohol was never one that really, I was never somebody that was a drinker. Love and relationship addiction issues were more my, I'm going to say go-to, but I don't think it's kind or fair if he struggles with alcohol for me to be drinking. And so that's a choice I made for our relationship. And I think somebody might be like, well, isn't that codependency that alcohol isn't something I love so much that I have to have it, or I feel slighted because I can't have it because I'm helping my spouse out. And so that's something that you need to consider. There are definitely provisions we can make to help our partner in this recovery process if you are in a married relationship. And that's something I think that makes this relationship stronger. Let's say you're not in a married relationship and you're a single person. When I was single and love and relationship issues were my issue, I had to put guidelines basically on my life. Don't text anybody after 9 p.m. Don't text anybody before 9 a.m. Not like work related or my family. I meant like inappropriate text messages. Don't engage in inappropriate conversations on Facebook Messenger with somebody who is married. That's not, even if they're just a friendly person, that's not okay. I mean, weird stuff to somebody who really doesn't care, but very vital stuff to someone who's trying to get recovery in a very specific area. You want to add to just some of the guidelines that you put in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times we're like, I want to say, like, people think that, I don't want to ask my spouse, or I don't want to ask my friend, or I don't want to ask my whoever to not drink around me, or to not do the thing that they normally do around me. And for me, I just want to say, I think most people don't care that much. And in fact, if they're like, well, I want to drink how I want to drink. I'm like, well, that might not be somebody who's healthy for you right now. The other thing that I'll tell you, I mean, I've known a lot of people who were very, very addicted to alcohol or drugs, and nobody really knew. Sometimes we get really good at hiding it. And so to even be honest and say, hey, look, this is where I'm at, or this is what's going on for me, and I really need help with this. Most people don't care about a glass of wine or whatever the thing is that they wanted to have. Like if they cared about it, they would have said something, or you would know.
Yeah.
And even setting the limits and kind of guidelines around specific areas. So just a few things that I want to say real quick. Go ahead if you
Well, I
want
was
to.
just going to say that's part of the fifth, this is 5 strategies. Tonight we're talking about barriers and boundaries that you set up to kind of help your recovery process. One of them is telling your story. And that's kind of what Chad is saying here, that, and we'll get to this one in week 10.
Yeah.
When you get more comfortable sharing your story, then you are able to tell a friend, tell a family member, tell somebody, hey, I'm sober, and that really is hard for me to be around, and I want to hang out with you, but I'm just wondering on nights we hang out, can that be something that we not do, or whatever that looks like. And that's a hard conversation to have if you're new at it, but as you get more comfortable with telling your story to people, then they know, and it holds you accountable as well. What were you going to say? Yeah, you had some points.
I had these are just practical.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Practical steps too.
I'm like, if you've got things that, like, let's say are medications or things like that you think I've got to have this because the doctor's prescribed something like that. I mean, I'm not saying those are good things, but I'm like, you get some help around those sorts of things. I've had people say that they lock them up, or somebody gets a lockbox or a safe, or I'm like, if it's something that you're saying, hey, I'm really trying to quit this and I need help with that, have somebody do it. I've had people, like, with their phones, get a friend to, and even if it's not a spouse, like, put a passcode on it so that it won't let you go to some sites. I mean, even the basic stuff on our phones, it locks you out of some stuff, but I'm like, if you're really saying, hey, I'm going to try to be good about this, get a passcode on it where you can't get into browsers and other things on your phone or on an iPad or on a computer or whatever. There's ways to lock yourself out of things. And it's not forever, right? This is just to get your footing.
Yeah.
It's if early on in recovery, a lot of times it can feel like you're like sliding down a cliff and you're just grasping onto roots and straw and whatever you can get your hands on. And so this is just to kind of like give you footing to kind of get your feet under you and say, okay, how do I get out of this mess? We're not saying this is a way of life forever. Then we're not saying you can never ever go to the party. We're not saying you can never ever have, a smartphone. We're not saying you can never ever. That's not the point. The point is, if recovery is something you're really trying to do, now might be a time to just put some things to the side and say, okay, I'm going to really focus on this. I'm really going to try at this.
Yeah, and I would even encourage this idea that if you're in this process trying to get sober, already talking about, well, when is the time when I'm going to get to drink again, you might be missing the focus.
Yeah.
The idea is, I want to get sober, or I want to get freedom, or I want to get out of the bondage that I'm in from whatever this thing is that's derailing my life. I'm going to do whatever it takes, and that means adding some extra protection, adding some extra barriers, boundaries. And the next slide I want to go to really quick talks just about the idea that, let's say you're setting a boundary with an unhealthy person. The reality is, you don't have to...
This slide or the other one?
No, the next one.
Okay, hold on one second.
You don't have to tell anybody why you're setting a boundary against them. Let's say you have an unhealthy family member. Let's say you have an unhealthy friend. You don't owe an explanation to those people. At the same time, it is good when you start this process to include your sponsor or some accountability, so that you can say, I know for me, when I really wanted to start working on my eating habits and getting healthy, I texted 2 or 3 of my friends and said, listen, I'm going to be lazy. I would rather eat than go run. Would you do me a favor? I'm giving you permission. I'm also asking you, shoot me a text a couple times this week and ask me if I've exercised or if I've gone for a run, or even better, if you want to go for a run with me, knowing that somebody's relying on me to be there will kind of give me that extra boost to show up. And so that is something that's really important. I've talked about this before in my recovery, giving specific questions to your sponsor so that they can ask you, ask me this question. That's the question that I need to answer.
That's good. I mean, it's important to not do this alone. If you're kind of doing recovery in secret, and I know people start that way sometimes, but the more, and I'm getting to point two, it's actually next week, but I'm like, the more people you get around you, the more accountability, the more sponsors, the more that you're going to have success. I mean,
Yeah.
and I want to say that these 5 points that we're going to talk through are 5 little, they all go together.
Yeah.
Like you need all 5 of them at the same time. You know, it's not, can you just do it with community? Maybe. Can you just do it with boundaries? Possibly. You know, can you do it with like self-awareness or filling your time with other things? Those are all things that maybe can do this for you, but you put all 5 of those things together, and I think you've got a real chance to have your feet under you to really start to make some gains, find some traction, and I think there's no better place to find community and kind of the structure for this, whether it's service as far as like re-engaging, or whether it's setting limits and boundaries and finding people to hang out with, like that are good at a Super Bowl party, or that are good, you know, that we're not, you know, you're not going to drink around a Christmas party or whatever. If that's your thing, you can know that at Recovery, you can find some people that are doing some healthy things and making some healthy choices.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but if you don't have sponsors or accountability, none of this really works. And that really is kind of leading into next week's talk on community. But this really is a process of saying, I'm going to get the bad stuff out of the house. I'm going to get it literally and figuratively, but I'm going to get it out of the house. I'm going to set up limits around what I can do and how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to start to think about like, okay, who can help me with this?
Yeah.
Who can really help me kind of on this road? If you're at a place where you're saying, I'm ready to like really set some limits, ask some people to help you with it. That's really the next thing with this.
You know, some of the things we're talking about are tangible. Like if you get the bad stuff out of the house, so to speak, we're talking about drugs, alcohol, food, pornography, some of those really tangible things, even love and relationship issues, reaching out to somebody. But this barriers and boundaries kind of talk still includes exterior influences that's not necessarily a substance, like a family member that triggers you, or a situation that is an unhealthy thing. And so it is still like being able to identify the thing in your life that really sends you to a bad place and work on getting yourself out of a situation where that would be a bad influence on you. That's really being able to kind of talk about it. There's one more slide, the 5th slide.
That was the 5th slide.
Oh, it was? That's it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yay.
We can look at it though.
No.
Look at it again. The 5th slide. There it was. That was good, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, so let's...
I want to go back to this slide though, and just kind of say, these are the 5 points in this process. We want to make sure you find barriers, get people out, or get the stuff out that's in you, that you stumble over, that you trip over. We want to make sure we get community, which we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about what are the healthy things to replace it with. Make sure you have self-awareness. That means kind of being in tune with your own story, your own struggle, your own body. And then the last one is literally your story. Like, where do you come from? How did we get here? And how do we change some of that? So that's kind of it. That's kind of what we're going to do as we move through this, you guys. I'm excited to talk through this with you and get to kind of share some of this. And maybe, who knows, Angela and I might fight over the way home again. Anyway, I didn't.
Why don't we kick it over to Justin?
You want to do that? We could. Oh man, I feel like I'm in trouble, you guys. I'm in big trouble. It's a bad deal. I'm gonna get in trouble right now.
Here in the valley of my soul, when I am lost and all alone, through the shadows I can see your love is chasing after me. You cross the canyons of my fears, over the oceans of my tears. Like the wind that moves the trees, your love is chasing after me. chains unraveling. All of my shame were victory. I feel my heart run wild and free. There's no place I'd rather be. I see my chains unraveling. All of my shame for victory. I feel my heart run wild and free. There's no place I would rather be. No mountain higher, no river wider. My heart may wander, your love will never stop chasing after me. Your love will never stop, never stop, never stop. Your love will never stop chasing after me. Your love will never stop, never stop, never stop. Your love will never stop chasing after me.
Justin with the Crosstown Band. I think we need to talk about how much it needs to be like the most coordinated band in the land.
They do good with their colors, man.
They do. The reds and the blacks, all the coordination. Look, we're doing okay. I think Jennifer would be really proud of us today. We have some coordination.
Does it kind of
going.
match?
It kind of does.
I'm colorblind,
Even like
I
the
can't
blue
tell
behind,
really.
it does. We have
Yeah.
some good colored themes going on.
It's nice.
Well, we like when we get to kick it over to the Serenity Prayer because then we get to see a new face every single week. And also, we totally forgot, if you have a blue chip or if you're talking about, as we talked about barriers tonight, it's tricky to try to set parameters in our life that help our recovery process. So many of the things that are in our lives are comfort for us during times that didn't go well. And so to get rid of those or to cut those out or to make, rigid lines around the things we don't want makes it harder for us to get to them. And that's hard to do, although it is super beneficial. So if any of the talk tonight made you kind of think, I might need to set some more rigid boundaries or parameters around my recovery process, then take a blue chip between now and the time we ended, because we forgot to say that
Before the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A blue chip is yours as it awaits. So let's kick it over and read the Serenity with another one of our amazing Celebrate Recovery participants.
Hey Forever family, I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I struggle with trust, relationship issues, and anxiety, and my name is Sarah. Would you guys please join me as I start the Serenity Prayer? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. Taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good to see. When we see people week in and week out, we get to see their hair changes too. And so she had some
Kind of
different-
brunette,
I
a little
liked
bit.
it.
There you
Little
go.
tips on the end. Very
Yeah.
stylish as
Looks good.
always. It was so good to see your face. Miss you guys.
We do, you guys. We're gonna stop a couple minutes early. I think we went a little fast too, just because internet's messing up on us.
It
I
keeps
think
freezing.
it's saying we're dropping like 40% of our frames, so that's not very good.
No.
It's probably pretty glitchy out there. So we'll post it on YouTube. I'll render it right after this, and we'll have it up probably in an hour or two, depending on. That's also contingent on our internet.
That
And so
means tomorrow.
we'll do everything we can to get it going. But
we'll
you guys,
look
we
into what's
appreciate
happening.
you. We like seeing you.
Yeah, we miss you guys. We hope you're well. Remember, even though we're in an isolated season, you don't have to do recovery alone. Reach out. You can message us on Facebook or send us an email just so we can be praying for you. We have an incredible team of leaders that prays for you, our participants and our community, our Forever family on a pretty regular basis. And so if you need resources during this season or just some extra encouragement or support, we're here for you. We love you. We miss you. And we'll see you next Sunday at 6.
Yep. Thanks, guys. I got to get my slides up here. It's about to be time. So close to leaving now. Really are. You guys, thanks for being here.